Good morning and welcome to KDXI St. George, Radio St. George at 100.3 FM. It's our pleasure to present to you The Garden Show with Artie and Woody. It's time to find out, how does your garden grow? Here are your hosts for The Garden Show, Artie and Woody.
It's Radio Dixie, Radio St. George, 100.3. Which radio station am I on?
I don't know.
It's Radio St. George, not Radio Dixie.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, it's time for the Fun and Garden Show starring Woody.
Hey, Kemosabe, how are you?
Awesome.
You know, with that opening music, it puts me in a Western mood.
Oh, you love doing it.
I know.
Or you love dancing to
I
that.
need a horse.
Oh, you're galloping every time you hear that
I know.
music.
I like it.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, it's Radio St. George 100.3. It's time for the Fun and Garden Show. And thanks for tuning in, folks. If you'd like to call us or text us at any time, it's 435-879-4100. You can also jump on homeandgarden.com.
Fun and Garden.
Funandgarden.com.
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 I'm going to have to take you out and beat you.
Funandgarden.com. You can also check us out on Facebook. We would love to have you interact with us. Ask a question on funandgarden.com.
Love it. Bring them on.
Absolutely. I am the official producer of the Fun and Garden Show.
And I am the
star
medicine taker. I got my medicine.
Is that your Diet Coke?
I got my prescription.
I've got my Diet Mountain Dew.
Oh, we're ready to go, man.
All right, folks. Yep. Sure. You can also see repeats of the show on YouTube and Facebook. And like I mentioned before, funandgarden.com has all of the links and everything, all that good stuff.
And last week we were absent.
Yeah.
We were gone. They beamed us up into those spacecrafts and put transponders in our noses.
I think that's what happened.
Yeah. So if you missed us last week, we're sorry.
Well, yeah. Well, here we are.
We're back.
We're back. We're ready to go. We're rejuvenated. We're excited about today's show. Today we're going to be talking about sprinklers. It's sprinkler chat. And, of course, sprinklers are Woody's favorite subject.
Oh,
you
I
love sprinklers.
I love sprinklers.
So tell the audience what happened.
If you can't love sprinklers, what can you love? I mean, the laying on your stomach with your hands down in a valve box trying to fix a leak, there's nothing better than that. It doesn't get any better.
So that happened all last night or all yesterday
all
for you?
All day yesterday.
So you were laying on your stomach.
In the sprinkler box, had a big pile of mud and gravel and trying to get a leak fixed.
You know what? Leaks are horrible.
They are.
Absolutely horrible. And you discovered a couple leaks at my place, too. You're very nice to come over and help me out with my issues.
Yeah, I know. I was. That'll never happen again.
And you've been very patient with me as well because, gosh, how many times did I run over that corner sprinkler in my driveway?
Yeah.
You would have. Oh, you know what? I actually got one of those little markers that they have at
the
Lowe's.
Flags,
yeah, the little flags at Lowe's. I think it's like 10 for $1 or something. It says Lowe's on it. So not only did I put a flag marker there, I put 2 of them.
So if you hit it, you're going to hit it twice?
Yeah, well, you know what I should do, speaking about hitting things, I should mark my sprinklers with large rocks or boulders or something, because I always damage them, especially with this lawnmower. You would think I would learn my lesson, Woody, but
you
no.
You would think, yeah.
You would think.
You would think.
But, gosh.
Anyway.
But that's why you're there as a friend that I could reach out and ask for help. But I think, you kind of gave me a signal when we went to Lowe's a couple weeks ago. You pointed out what I should buy in case that ever happened again. So I think that was kind of a subtle hint. It's like, it wasn't. If you hit that sprinkler, you're on your own.
No, I just wanted to have the supplies at your house in case I came over.
So, yeah.
If you're on your own, you got to go get your own supplies.
Yeah, you showed me the little tool thing that you stick down into the sprinkler and
it's a nipple extractor.
Absolutely.
Now there's a $7 word. Extractor.
Okay, so we're going to be talking about sprinklers today. That's the theme. Tell us what's on the show today, Woody.
Okay,
What are we going to expect?
First thing I want to talk about a little bit are climate zones.
Okay.
You know, when you go to the Star Nursery or the Lowe's or one of those places, and you pick up a shrub or a annual or a perennial, and you look on the tag, and it'll say zones 6 to 8 or 8 to 10 or whatever. And a lot of people wonder, what in the world is that?
Huh.
And the U.S. Department of Agriculture has divided up our country into different zones.
Oh, okay. I see where you're going
Yeah,
with this.
according to the weather.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And they take into consideration the how cold it gets in the winter, how hot it gets in the summer, how much rainfall you have, and all that kind of thing. According to them, St. George is an 8.
No, are we?
We're an 8.
We're an 8?
We're an 8.
Is that good or bad or
well,
what?
it's just what it is.
Okay.
But the thing is, if it says that a plant is, good for zone 12 to 14, and you're in an 8, you don't want to get it because it means it's going to freeze. But the Western Garden Book, this is where some of the confusion comes in. The Western Garden Book, not agreeing with the U.S. Department of Agriculture, made up their own system.
Oh, really?
Yeah, to make it a little simpler,
So they flushed that whole thing down the toilet and they came up with something different.
Their own. And according to them, we're a 10.
We're what?
Yeah. So, according to Western Garden, we're a 10. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, we're an 8.
Well, I'm wondering if St. George should have its own separate zone.
Well,
we're all...
Yeah, here's the problem. Actually, both of them are a little bit incorrect because 10 and 8 are considered high desert. And we're not high desert. We're low desert. I mean, high desert would be more like...
Mojave Desert.
No, well, yeah, elevation-wise, but more like the climate between here and Cedar City. Maybe Leeds and Dameron Valley and that kind of thing. That's more high desert.
Oh.
Because, high desert in California is, a lot of it's, 4,000 feet, 3,500, and we're 2,500 here.
Yeah.
So be careful of that a little bit. If you have any questions, you can call us or you can contact the Utah State agricultural agent for the state of Utah, and they'll be glad to help you with that.
So knowing which zone you're in will help me how?
Well, you're going to buy a shrub, and it says the hardness factor of the shrub is 20 degrees. In other words, that shrub dies at 20 degrees. Well, some winters you're going to be okay in St. George, and some winters it's going to kill it.
That's true, actually.
Yeah, so you have to.
See that.
You kind of have to know. Our winters are usually from worst case scenario about 18 degrees to about 30 degrees, and so if you have a plant like I don't know, Artie, were you here 7 or 8 years ago when we had the big snowstorm?
Yeah. Yes, 2013, I think,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, we had the snowstorm, and we had like 5 or 6 inches of snow, and then it got really cold.
Oh, my goodness.
And it was down in the teens at night, and a lot of people lost palm trees.
Yes,
And
that's
the
true.
reason is because it got too cold. Wow. So you go to Star Nursery and you buy one of these sleeping bag looking affairs, and you put around the top of the tree where the prongs come out of the trunk, and you help it to get through the cold weather.
So they have something at Lowe's or Stars?
Star, yeah.
Really?
They're called a...
to protect the palms.
Yeah, they're called a palm tree parka. if I remember correctly.
Well, you could get your wife to knit you one.
Yeah, or you could take the quilt off your bed and go out and lay it on the tree. You know?
Yeah.
Or stand there with a hair dryer. And, you know. But that's the main reason is the hardness factor in the winter. The other issue is the heat in the summer. There are some plants that will not survive in St. George. It's just too hot, and that's kind of gauged by the elevation. I remember talking to the extension agent about oak trees. I love oak trees, and there's very few oak trees you can grow in St. George because it's too low in elevation, and it gets too hot in the summer for them. They need to be at an elevation of about 3,800 feet, and we're 25. And so in the summer when it gets to be, real warm, 110, they have a hard time.
How about aspens as well?
Same thing.
Same thing? Okay.
Same
That's
thing.
what I was thinking.
You can grow one really well up in Cedar City, or maybe even Leeds, but not St. George. They're gonna if they survive, they're gonna struggle and struggle and struggle and never do very well.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, and you kind of have to be careful. I don't want to be negative, but some of the different large box stores bring things in to sell that are not really for our climate.
Okay.
You'll see, well, I won't mention the store, but they'll have aspens to sell in their parking lot. You know, they bring in a big truckload of Quakies and start selling them, and every one of those is going to die down here. And
you're talking about the big box stores. The local nurseries are a different story. Same thing. Like for example, Star. They know their stuff.
Right. They're pretty
So we're not talking about Star. We're talking about a big box store.
Yeah. The only thing I've ever seen Star bring in that's maybe not going to do too well here is bougainvillea. Do you know what bougainvillea is?
Oh, it's an Italian sausage.
Yeah, that's a sausage pizza.
With marinara.
Yeah.
No, I was at Costco yesterday, and I heard, I was going to pick up a lasagna with
bougainvillea
in it.
It's a vine, and it has beautiful reddish pink flowers all over it. They're wonderful. Down on the coast, they're everywhere. Disneyland has big trellises covered in bougainvillea. And I wanted one really bad, and I bought one to put in my yard, and it lasted 1 year until winter, and then it froze.
Really?
Yeah. So bougainvillea doesn't make it here. It would make it in, say, Logandale or Vegas, but not St. George.
Really?
And so
that's wild.
If you see that for sale at a store, just leave it alone because you're going to waste your money.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah, there's some that, well, what can we say? They push the envelope on just a little bit.
Just to make a sale.
I don't know if it's just to make a sale or
pure ignorance. They don't care.
They make an error. They just make an error and bring something in that, like Star's a great organization, but they're based in Vegas. And I think they're thinking that St. George is the same as Vegas.
See, that's what I would think.
Yeah, but it's not. Vegas is about 7 or 8 degrees warmer. And in the winter, that makes a big difference. The difference between 18 degrees or 25 degrees might make the difference between bougainvillea living or dying. So I've got some hibiscus, and they're beautiful. I've got a hibiscus bush that's getting ready to bloom. And it's just covered in great big red blossoms.
Oh, cool.
But every winter I have to cut it down and cover it with a mound of topsoil to keep it from dying during the winter.
Oh, wow.
Because the roots will freeze.
Really?
Yeah. So you can take a bag of bark and pour on it, or some topsoil and put 3-4 inches over it, and it'll make the difference. and every spring it comes up again. It's only about 2 inches high when I cut it off, and right now it's about 3 feet high, and it's just started growing about 3 weeks ago. So
oh, no kidding.
that's how fast it comes back.
Now, I guess the same is true about some of the plants that do well here will die in like Salt Lake City or Provo or
Yeah, you don't see a lot of palm trees up there.
yeah.
Yeah, and the palm trees that do well here, unfortunately, aren't the really beautiful palm trees. The beautiful ones to me are the queen palm. They have those big, long prongs that hang over.
Oh yeah.
And they have them in Vegas. They have them in L.A. and places like that.
I can't believe how sharp those leaves are.
Yeah, but they won't do good here. The ones that do good here are like the Mexican fan palm and Robusta. There's one called Robusta, and but to me they're not the most attractive of the palm trees. And you have to make them look good and to keep them safe in the winter, you have to do quite a bit of extra things, like having a landscaper come and cut the root of the prongs off the trunk so it's smooth, and then wrapping them with a sleeping bag in the winter.
Wow.
Some people put a electrical conduit up, and they have a heat lamp up there for the winter.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Really?
And that's getting to be a lot of trouble for, so.
That's true. And I can see why they would go out of their way to do it, though, because those palm trees are pretty darn expensive. What, a couple $1,000s for? Oh,
well, the big ones they put in, like the ones they put over at Thunder Junction.
Yeah, the Tree Park.
They run $150 a foot.
Oh my gosh!
So those are probably $3,000 trees.
Yeah, the ones that we have at the park. Interesting.
And have you ever seen a palm out of the ground? Mm-hmm. They have a great big nest of roots. It's like a great big plug on them with the roots going in every direction.
Oh, wow.
They don't have a tap root or roots like a tree. They have, I don't know how to describe it, but it's more on the order of the root of an asparagus plant, if you've ever seen. They look like almost like a multi-legged spider kind of thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And palm trees, and I know this because I've cut palm trees down, they are full of water. They have so much water in them that if you start cutting them down and you put the pieces on the ground, it just leaks out of them.
Wow.
Palm trees have a lot of water in them. So anyway.
So we're talking about zones. We kind of got off.
Yeah, we were talking about, I just wanted to mention why there's a difference in zones.
Sure, makes sense.
And be careful when you buy stuff and make sure. I want to talk... my main subject for the first half an hour was going to be sprinklers and sprinkler systems, and it's not so much, how to build a sprinkler system as it is the reason, we talked about a couple of weeks ago, the new sprinkler control boxes that are the smart ones that you can set with your smartphone, and they'll turn the water off and turn the water on and do all these things. The reason a sprinkler box is divided into zones. Now, they have them 6 zones, they have them 9 zones, they have them 12 zones, and the more zones it has, the more expensive it'll be because the program's more complex. Mm-hmm. But the zones would be defined as an example, your back lawn would be a zone.
Your drippers.
Your front lawn would be a zone. Your drip system would be a zone. A zone, because they're something you should water totally different than a shrub. A shrub you're going to water every other day down here.
Yeah.
A tree you're going to water once a week, but you're going to water it with more water. like my trees the zone I have on my trees are like 10 minutes or 12 minutes, but there's only once a week that they do that, and it just pours the water down there and floods it. So
I had a very complicated sprinkler system control box a couple years ago, and you were very kind to come over and actually replace it with the Orbit.
Orbit is a good, that Orbit's based up in North Salt Lake.
Is it?
Yeah. I didn't realize that till I looked online. The things you learn when you read stuff.
Oh, what a concept!
Yeah, a concept!
And this morning you brought to my attention the Orbit with the smartphone.
Yeah, apparently they have a controller with smartphones.
Well, we talked about that a little bit with Scott a couple of weeks ago.
Scott is our wonderful IT guy, our computer guru. Scott Lewis that helped us with all that stuff. He's a great guy, and
absolutely.
I spent last weekend up there watching his daughter and my granddaughter married.
Oh, cool!
Yeah, it was great. Had a reception, and it was wonderful.
That's awesome.
It's kind of a payday for Grandma and Grandpa to see that. She's a wonderful lady. And,
cool.
And the guy she picked is almost good enough for her.
So that's why you weren't on the show last week.
Yeah, Annalisa and Jason.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And they, you know what? They went on a cruise for their honeymoon. They didn't take me or Grandma.
I think that should have been the requirement.
I can't imagine that. Can you?
So Scott introduced us to to this really cool new feature. It's the smartphone, and I'm looking at one on Lowe's website right now, and this particular one, you control it all with your phone.
Yeah, that's the Orbit. They're about $100. I looked at them yesterday, and there's a 50% off rebate right now.
Oh, cool!
So for $50, you can get that new Smart Type. So,
and it shows zones right here. I'm looking online, different zones with the smartphone.
How many zones does that one have?
This one has 6, I think. The one I'm looking at has 6.
See, 6 would just barely be enough for your house, or not enough for my house, because I have my raised gardens.
That's
stuff.
right.
Yeah. So, anyway, so zones are important, but the other issue are programs. Okay, now let me explain that. I have a zone, let's say, that does my gardens, annuals, the daisies, coreopsis, gaillardia, that kind of stuff. One flower bed is in the back of the house and one's in the front. Okay.
Okay.
And I put them on the same zone, but there's a problem, and that is that the front of the house gets really hot in the summer, and the back of the house gets in shade. All right. Now, I can't water them both the same way.
No.
Right. But they're on the same zone. So you have to divide them, and the program's what divides them. And that's why the box I have is 9 stations and 3 programs.
Oh, 3 separate programs?
3 separate programs. So I can water my lawn with one, my gardens with another, my trees with the third.
Oh, that makes sense.
But I really wished I had another program or two so I could divide it even more. And, I'm not saying that this is important enough for you to go out and change your sprinkler system, because you learn to work around these kind of things, But if I was going to build a new house or put a new sprinkler system in, I would be really careful to get the flexibility that I wanted.
That makes sense. Great advice. Great advice, especially for someone like me. I mean, I'm horrible as far as remembering to water things and because everything I grow dies.
Right.
So, but that's a great idea for someone that's a little bit scatterbrained or not really into keeping track of when to water and when.
Well, and
when
even
not to,
even if you're an experienced guy, I've done gardening for 50 years.
Yeah.
But I leave town. I go to Salt Lake. I'm
Oh,
gone
that's
for
true,
4
yeah.
days, and I need my lawn not to die. And, I don't want to come home to if it gets
true.
over 100 degrees and you're gone for 4 days and you don't get any water,
Yeah.
you're in trouble. So
That's true. That's true.
So, even if you're experienced, you want that to take over for you when you're not around.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway, that's kind of the issue on sprinklers and those kind of things. And I just trying to let people know so that they can make good decisions when the time comes. As an example, if I have a garden in the front and a garden in the back, like I talked about,
Yes.
and I'm putting in a new system, I'm going to run a cable to the one in the back, and I'm going to run a cable into the one in the front, and have them on separate wires so that I can divide them. If I go to the front and then I go around the house to the back, I can't separate them. They're going to water the same.
Mm-hmm.
And if one's in the hot sun and one isn't, I'm either going to water it not enough and the front's going to die, or I'm going to water it too much and the back's going to be overwatered and I'm going to waste money. So, when you hire a contractor, he comes in and he wants to make some money on the job, so he probably does a simple, basic system.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to talk to him a little bit and try to see if you need some more flexibility. And maybe that means running an extra cable to an area or for putting an extra zone in the controller or so on. They have some controllers where you can add stations.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You can add on as you go.
You can open the box and put a little module in it, and it'll add stations to, like a 6-station box will become a 9-station.
Okay.
So that's another issue that, but usually when people's landscape is done, the concrete's poured, the driveway, the patio, it's pretty hard to run a cable around your house.
Yeah. Planning is the key.
I know that they have, I haven't checked the price on them. They have modules now that you can put on the valve in the box, and you don't have to have cable around the house. It's Wi-Fi.
Oh, really?
It's Wi-Fi, and
cool.
it'll send a signal to the box, to that little module to turn the valve on. And, maybe that's something I need to look into in the future. If I could get the valves to quit leaking, maybe I could get a Wi-Fi to turn them on and off.
Oh, I
and then you can do away with the wire, and if it starts to go bad, who cares? But you have to have the main box has to be Wi-Fi enabled, and then you have to buy these modules and I think you probably have to have a different valve.
That all sounds really expensive, in my opinion.
It is, but people do things for convenience.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah. So, anyway, are we at the break, big boy?
We have 2 minutes. What are you going to talk about for 2 minutes?
For 2 minutes, let's see. How about St. George? Did you see the article in the paper yesterday about their efforts to control flooding? They're building retention basins, and they're putting in drain lines and so
where at?
All over
Just
the
all over
city.
the place?
They're looking at different areas that have been a problem in the past. I guess Washington's had a really bad problem on Main Street down there, and they're gonna.
Oh, that's right.
They're gonna start down there, and they're gonna do almost a 2-year project.
Well, I noticed that the hill always keeps
flooding down.
Flooding the road over by the mall, kind of over by the factory outlet.
Yeah, and another area, the industrial area up by above Wendy's on the boulevard.
Oh yeah, that always has
that has
issue.
red mud coming down it all the time, and that's the issue. It isn't that we get 10 inches of water a year. It's that when we get 3 inches in 4 hours, that's when we have trouble.
Also, I've seen issues between, River Road and, I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, on Riverside Drive.
Over there?
Yeah, kind of over there by the...
They rebuilt Flood Street back about 5 or 6 years ago, and it's been pretty good since they kind of made the center of the street lower, so it actually becomes almost a canal because all the water from the west side and the east side drain toward Flood Street. That would be why they call it Flood Street.
Hey, Woody, what are we going to be talking about after the break?
After the break, we're going to talk about lawn maintenance.
Okay, lawn maintenance. It's Radio St. George 100.3. You're listening to the Fun and Garden Show with Woody and Artie. And, we'll be right back on Radio Dixie. Actually, Radio St. George 100.3.
Don't go away. Stay around.
This is Lisa Cypers-Kamen, host of Harvesting Happiness, consciously prepared brain food, inviting you to join me on this week's show to learn about releasing emotional clutter, the power of self-care to improve your relationships at work and at home, with my guests, Kate Northrup and Laura Carlin. To learn more, please visit harvestinghappinesstalkradio.com.
Harvesting Happiness, Sundays at 4 on Radio St. George 100.3.
Pickleball! On the 28th of June, join the Midnight Pickleball Heist Tournament that is open to all levels and all ages. To register, please visit pickleballtournament.com. This is brought to you by the City of St. George.
Steamroller Copies, we're the one to help you till your work is done. The full service business center makes your day run so much better.
Steamroller Copies and Copiers for Sale, a proud supporter of Dixie State University Radio.
Full service business center, Steamroller Copies.
From the 24th of June to the 26th of June, the Center for Arts, KDXI, will host a musical workshop series in June. The event will last from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. and will be performing James and the Giant Peach. For tickets for this event, please visit kenta.com. On June 24th through the 27th, now in its 6th year, Girls Go Digital is a computer science and tech camp just for girls. Learn how to hack, design, code, and make things with technology. Any level of interest and experience is welcome. For more information and registration, please go to stem.dixie.edu. Brought to you by Dixie State University.
Radio St. George 100.3 FM needs your help. Since we're a non-commercial radio station, you have the opportunity to support all of this great, local, community-minded programming with an underwriting sponsorship. Underwriting is a great opportunity to let the community know who you are and that your donation is being used locally to benefit the students at Dixie State University. Be a sponsor. RadioStGeorge.com. And thank you for your support from Radio St. George 100.3 FM.
Follow us on Twitter at Radio St. George.
We now return to the Garden Show with Artie and Woody.
You get really excited when you hear our theme song.
I'm going to bring my horse in.
Oh, my gosh. You're nodding your head. You're dancing in your
I know.
seat. You love it.
Silver. My horse is Silver, Kimasabi.
It's the Fun and Garden Show on Radio Dixie. Actually on Radio St. George 100.3. Radio St. George 100.3.
When you were a kid, did you watch Roy Rogers?
Oh, yeah.
What was his horse's name?
Is it Trigger?
Trigger?
Yeah.
Do you know what they did to Trigger when he died?
What?
They stuffed him.
No.
Yeah.
And they put him in a museum or something? Or
at Roy Rogers Museum in Victorville, California. Trigger's standing there.
How would you like to be stuffed?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think they can stuff you without hurting you a lot. I think that probably hurts. It's the seams when they do you back up. That's what hurts.
Probably.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind being stuffed and displayed here at the station.
Oh, that'd look good. Or on the hood of my car. They used to have big hood ornaments.
That's right.
Yeah.
Huh.
Do you know why hood ornaments were put on cars to begin with?
Why is that?
1910 and that. Because you were supposed to guide your car down the road by using the hood ornament as a sight.
Actually had a purpose? It wasn't just for decoration?
That's right.
Really?
Yeah, it was as a guide So you'd center the car in the lane.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
Huh.
Someday we'll talk about rumble seats.
Wait, what are rumble seats?
Oh,
you
yeah,
you brought it up.
That little seat that you pop up in the back.
Oh yeah,
They were
facing the
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Looking right.
Instead of a trunk, you had a rumble seat.
That's right.
And you'd rumble, I guess. I don't know.
Well, folks, if you would like to participate in the show, you can log on to funandgarden.com. You can actually interact with us, ask us questions. Excuse me. And funandgarden.com will link you to where you can hear us. And, of course, we're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. And, gosh, this is great.
If you call or text us some questions, we'll give you a prize. You can have a drink of my Diet Coke.
That's awesome.
I know. I have to have a doctor's prescription for that.
Really?
You know? Yeah.
So call or text us at 435-879-4100 or drop by our Facebook page. All right, so before...
I have to have a doctor's prescription for almost anything.
Oh. Well, before the break, we teased that we're going to talk about lawn maintenance issues.
Right. And we're going in a time where we're passing from springtime weather to summer weather.
Okay.
And right now is a good time, before it gets really hot, is a good time to put your Miracle-Gro on your lawn.
Okay, so
if you did one a month ago or 6 weeks ago, do one again.
I was just going to ask that.
Yeah, do it again and before the real hot weather.
Okay.
And then that'll take you through to about the end of August until 1st of September. The nights start to cool down.
Yeah.
So yeah, do your Miracle-Gro, and with Miracle-Gro you can put it on the trees, on the shrubs, on the lawn, on your vegetable garden. It's a wonderful, convenient product. It's much easier than buying 5 different fertilizers.
And you introduced me to the generic brand. Some stores have a generic brand of Miracle-Gro. So
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
The store brand.
The store brand.
That's
yeah.
what we'll call it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's less expensive.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and we like to save our listeners money.
But we like Miracle-Gro.
We do.
Miracle-Gro, you pay a little bit extra for the name brand.
Well, you do, but it's really good. I always have people, my daisies this year are about almost 5 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
And people stop and say, how come your daisies are, and there's, on the package it says 36 inches, and mine are 60 inches high. And it's because of the Miracle-Gro.
Oh, I love Miracle-Gro.
Yeah, it's great stuff. It'll really help your plants. And it's easily absorbed, and it won't burn them. It won't burn them. Even if you put it on the way Artie does, it doesn't burn them.
You know me too well, I guess.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, so back to lawns. So anyway, we're going to put some Miracle-Gro on. We're going to readjust our sprinkler system because we've had them on every other day, and we've had them on 7 or 8 minutes, and we want to turn them up to maybe 10, 12 minutes a zone. And I need to come by and do yours.
Absolutely. I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah. If I do, though, I want a pizza waiting for me. Artie.
No, I'll pay you in the usual payment of diet, caffeine-free diet.
I'm boycotting for a pizza.
Oh, you want pizza?
I want pizza. Saturday afternoon pizza is a tradition at my house. So anyway, you dial that up a little bit, and then I know that we told you to water at 6 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. And that's when you should. Whatever you do, don't water at 7 o'clock at night.
Now, why is that?
Because it's going to put moisture on your lawn. You're going to get a mildew on your lawn, and it's really, really tough to get rid of. And the medicine you have to buy for it is really expensive. It's like, here's a 10-pound bag that'll take care of your lawn, but it's only $40. And you have to do it 2 or 3 times, so it's expensive to get rid of mildew. Better to avoid it.
Okay.
So don't water at night, because then the spores of the mildew settle into the moisture on the blades of grass, and it gets started, and then you're in trouble.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You would think with hot weather that wouldn't happen, but it's the opposite. Up in Salt Lake, they don't have mildew very often, but we have it like crazy down here.
Huh.
And I speak from experience, because I watered at night and I got mildew.
You had issues.
Yeah, and it took me 3-4 years to get rid of it.
Wow.
So anyway, water in the morning. The problem with watering in the morning at 5 a.m., let's say, is that you don't see the sprinklers working. You're asleep.
That's true.
Yeah. So maybe you have a problem like I've got on my front lawn. All of a sudden, I've got this dry spot.
Yeah. Oh, I have one of those too.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, why is that spot dry? So I go out at 6:30, like I do every Saturday, so I can be here. And the sprinkler zone that waters my front lawn is going, and I've got a gusher, because when I was mowing, I hit
one of those.
I hit a sprinkler, and I reached down and I tried to check it, and I thought it was okay, and it's shooting water in the air, so the other sprinklers on the same zone
lack pressure,
and they're not watering.
Wow.
So if I hadn't seen that this morning, I wouldn't know what was wrong, why I was getting that dry spot. So I've got to go home, put a new riser on that, and let it water again, and get some water on that lawn, and then that dry spot will go away. But you've got to make the effort once in a while to, if you don't get up at 5 a.m., that's okay. But, maybe at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Run a cycle or two.
Yeah, put it on manual and run it through just for a minute, so you can see if all the heads will get clogged. I'll tell you what else gets clogged a lot are these bubblers.
Oh.
You'll adjust them, and they get, our water has a lot of minerals in it, and they'll get clogged up with minerals, and you think it's adjusted, and it was 3 weeks ago, but now all of a sudden your tomato plant's wilting, and you turn on the sprinklers and you look and there's no water coming out, and you take and turn the bubbler, and all of a sudden it starts to come out.
Huh.
And it's because it gets a mineral buildup in there. Okay, so you've got to watch them once in a while. I'm not going to tell you to get up at 5 a.m. Just because I'm up at 5 a.m. doesn't mean you have to be up at 5 a.m. I know Artie, he gets up by 9 no matter what.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, lawn maintenance. Oh, the other thing we do at this time of year, now that it's starting to get warm, is we're going to raise the level on our mower just a little bit.
No, that's interesting.
Yeah, we need to go on my mower. I have an electric mower, by the way, and I love it. Excuse me. I bought it over at one of the big box stores. It's not one with the battery. It's one with the cord.
Oh, I always run over the cord.
Yeah, I know.
Always.
I've come close, but I haven't done it yet. But I didn't really trust the battery because I didn't have a lot of faith that it had enough power. But this corded electric is wonderful. I don't have to worry about gas. I don't have to worry about oil. I don't have to worry about pulling that doggone start thing. I don't have to do any of that. I push the button and it starts up, and it works really well, and it has a lot of torque.
Does it really?
Yeah, it really does. It does a better job than my electric Briggs & Stratton.
Now, do you have to push it, or is it kind of a self-drive thing?
No, you have to push it. But anyway, it has a mechanism where you change one wheel in the back and it changes the other three.
Yeah, mine has the same thing.
Okay. So what we want to do this time of year is just you push that out of the little slot it's in, and you pull it back a little bit, about a 1/4 inch, and put it in the next slot, and the whole mower will go up about a 1/4 inch.
Well, let me ask you a question, Woody. I like short grass.
I know.
So why would I want to do this?
You would want to do it, number one, to save water, and number two, to keep your lawn from burning up. You can get your lawn so short, and I like short grass too, but you can get it so short that you can't put enough water on it.
See, I'm wondering if that's my issue with my little corner in the front of my house, is that it's just too short or something.
I don't know. I'll come over and look at it, and we'll change your controller. And,
All right.
All right.
Thanks.
But anyway, so you want to make it just a little bit longer, and then extend your water a little bit. And then the other thing is just to watch for conditions that change, like a dry spot or a mildew. Mildew is kind of the color of the lawn changes, and it goes to a real dark green, and it you can tell there's something wrong, but you don't know what it is. And if you take a little pasture grass over to Star, they always have somebody there that'll tell you you've got mildew and you
they're
need to
experts
treat
over
it.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, they are. And I was trying to think if there was any other issues with lawn. This is also the time of year where you get crabgrass coming in.
Yeah, and you know what? What's interesting is dandelions as well, right? Because my front yard is dandelion free, but my neighbor next door, everywhere.
Yeah,
so I guess I'm doing something right.
Well, they didn't treat it in the spring, and you treated yours.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
so that's why.
Yeah,
so I did something good.
Dandelions is a spring problem, and if you treat it, you're good for the rest of the year.
Wait, this is a victory for me because everything I plant dies, everything I grow dies. I actually did something good.
Crabgrass is a summer problem. It's not that it's not there in the spring, it's that you don't see it. Yeah. And then about this time of year, about the 1st of July, you start seeing the tufts of crabgrass come up.
Yes.
And then you have two choices. One is to get out on your knees with a great big screwdriver and dig it out.
Yeah.
And that's a tough one because, it's warm that time of year.
Yeah.
Or you can go get some treatment, and Bayer has a really good treatment that kills weeds plus crabgrass, and they have one that kills weeds plus Bermuda grass. Bermuda grass is horrid down here.
No, I think I did have issues with Bermuda or crabgrass, and you did recommend that product.
Yeah.
From Bayer, and it worked perfectly.
Yeah. Usually you have to do it a couple of times. It takes more than once usually to kill the crabgrass and stuff. You'll do it once, and the crabgrass will look a little sick. But then if you don't do it again, it'll start to come back.
Wow.
But if you do it again, then it'll die.
Well, that stuff really works. We did that a couple of years ago.
Yeah. So the crabgrass is something you start to see this time of year. And it's not as hideous as Bermuda, but Bermuda grass is something that was developed in Florida by some, I don't know if they've hung him yet, but it was developed in Florida by somebody for a golf course because they wanted lawn that was green but didn't take in much water in the summer.
Oh.
So they developed Bermuda grass.
Is that what we have on our golf courses down here in St. George?
Yes, especially Bloomington Country Club has a lot of Bermuda.
Now, is that more expensive or?
No, it's cheaper.
Is it really?
And it's cheaper because it doesn't use much water. You can use, where you water a lawn every other day down here, you water Bermuda once a week.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's got these crawly things it sends out, and if you pull it up, all of a sudden it's 4 feet long, and it goes back over to this other place where it comes out.
Is that the official name of those weeds?
Bermuda grass.
Oh, I thought you
meant
awful.
It's awful.
Crawly things. I thought
yeah, Bermuda crawly things. So after this fellow, who I won't use any particular names for, but
Me?
I'd like
You're talking about me?
the guy that invented Bermuda grass.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. After he invented it, they started to refine it, and now there's some Bermuda grass that looks really nice. But it's not the kind we have here. It's the kind they use in like Phoenix. My daughter lived in Phoenix, and they do an overseed thing where in the summer they put Bermuda grass in, and then in the fall they take a scraper and they scrape it off, and they plant ryegrass, and the ryegrass comes up, and they have that in the winter.
Oh,
And it's really pretty.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So it's a lot of work, but they have 2 seasons down there, and they use Bermuda for the summer. But the kind of Bermuda that looks good is expensive, the seed.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's like the difference, like regular Bermuda is $5 a bag, and the nice Bermuda is like $35 a bag. And but it looks a lot nicer. But to my knowledge, I don't know anybody that has it down here. But they go through an overseed thing. Bermuda is hideous because it sends roots down. When I first moved in, I found out there's a hill in my backyard, and I had Bermuda in it. And I thought, I'm going to dig that out before it gets going. And I dug down 4 feet, and it still had roots going down.
Really?
And I pulled them out as far as I could and filled it back in. And in 2 weeks, I had Bermuda grass again coming up. So if you're going to dig it out, good luck, brother. But Bayer has a new weed killer that is supposed to work on Bermuda grass. The only thing that I know of that bothers Bermuda grass is shade. Bermuda grass will grow where there's sun. It won't grow under a tree where there's shade.
It must be, that must be my issue with my corner.
And your backyard's got Bermuda.
So that's the issue.
Yeah, I'll tell you how you can tell Bermuda is in the winter when your lawn goes dormant. Bermuda turns yellow. It looks like straw in your grass.
Now, my little corner in my front, I
don't know if that's a problem in the front, but in your backyard, I know you've got Bermuda.
Well, I reseeded that little corner in the front, and it's a different kind of grass. I mean, it blends in once I mow it, but when it's growing,
I'll have to look at
that little corner piece has different weeds.
Yeah, I'll have to look at it.
So I'm wondering if I should just douse it with gas and light it on fire and try and start over, or just
put a water feature in there, put a big fountain.
Yeah,
kind of like the Trevi fountain in Rome.
So wait, if I want to repair this little corner piece, I guess this would be a good time to I'm having a horrible. I have horrible luck, taking care of it. Do I just dig it all up and it just gets the sod, or?
Home Depot has pieces of sod you can buy.
Well, see, that's what
it's just 2 or 3 square feet.
I did buy some sod for that particular little corner, that little area, but you
laid it over the top of your other grass.
No.
No.
I got it in August, or was it August or September? So that's why.
Too hot, yeah. You should wait till October. Or do it next spring.
Maybe I have to wait.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, Bermuda grass is horrid. I haven't tried the Bermuda grass Bayer stuffed, but I'm sure you'd have to use it 2 or 3 times.
So do you think that's what the solution is for my backyard? Is
it's
Bayer?
either that or get down with your hands and knees and start digging.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah. So, Bermuda grass, the type we have down here, is awful stuff. It's, when you really notice it is when you have children or you have grandkids that come and they start playing on the lawn, and instead of being soft,
it's
prickly. Hard and prickly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's pretty awful. Yeah.
So what kind of grass do I have in my front yard then?
Fescue. Yeah, fescue and Kentucky blue. they sell fescue, and about 85% of fescue or seed you buy down here will be fescue, and there'll be about 5 or 10% that's Kentucky Blue. And you put it in, and then over the next 10 years, the Kentucky Blue will gradually take over for the fescue.
Okay.
But you have to remember that with fescue, you have fine miniature fescue, and then you have the taller, coarser fescue.
So is one or the other more expensive? Or?
No, they have both in the seed. But it takes both to make the lawn look good and to feel good. The problem is if you have a spot like mine where you get a dry spot, the lawn that dies is the fine fescue. The coarse fescue will survive, and when I start watering it again, it'll look funny because it doesn't have the fine mixed in with it. It looks almost like crabgrass.
Oh, really?
Because the fine fescue has died because it's more tender.
And going back to the beginning of the program, you talked about zones. So I believe this has a lot to do with it. I mean, I'm wondering if you have less problems, up north in Salt Lake City growing grass.
Yeah, I don't know. It is easier up there, and I'm not sure why, other than the heat. But like your back lawn where you have fescue and Bermuda.
Yeah.
When you water it enough to keep the fescue alive, you're overwatering the Bermuda. You're wasting water.
Really?
So, but I'd get some of that Bayer. You got a lot of money, Artie. Turn in some of those CDs down at the Bank of Southern Utah and get 30,000 out and buy 500 bottles of Bermuda Killer.
Should do that.
You can handle it.
Oh, boy. We have 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Should I sing a song?
That's what I was hinting towards.
Okay, let's see. How about the Battle Hymn of the Republic?
That would be great.
Yeah.
So just to wrap up as far as lawn maintenance is concerned, let's see. So
watch for trouble spots. Water just a little bit more.
Check the zones.
And raise your mower. Check your zones. And make sure that you're getting coverage. Oh, coverage. People think that on sprinklers that one sprinkler should water to the middle and then the other sprinkler waters to that. In reality, one sprinkler waters to the next sprinkler, and that sprinkler waters back to the other sprinkler. So you have overlap. When you if you're putting in a sprinkler system, you have to go on 10-foot centers. You can't go on 20-foot centers unless you want to buy some really expensive heads that cover that far.
Interesting.
So that was one thing I forgot to talk about.
Cool. Well, this has been the Fun and Garden Show.
Where's my horse?
Starring Woody and his horse.
Horse Trigger.
Thanks for tuning in, folks. Check out funandgarden.com for more information about the show or listen to past shows as well.
How about Sean? Should we thank Sean?
Thanks, Sean. Sean Denovan,
Sean.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kimasabi.
And tune in next week for another exciting edition of the Fun and Garden Show on Radio St. George 100.3.
Be there or be square.
You've been listening to The Garden Show. For audio and or video of this show, go to Facebook or YouTube, Spotify or Podbean, and search Radio St. George, or go to the website radiostgeorge.com. Until next week, this has been The Garden Show with Artie and Woody on Radio St. George 100.3 FM.